Hey guys, and welcome along to another rainy This Week in Photography, in which I enter the matrix of photographic news and happily swallow that red pill. Every week or thereabouts, I take a look at interesting stories happening in the photographic world, I put a magnifying glass up against the PR spin and seek the truth behind the headlines. And in this week's show, the Instagram crowd descend on the canola fields. Just for a change, DJI released new drones, Adobe fight back in the AI wars, Skylum add focus stacking to Luminar Neo, and landscape photography is scientifically proven to protect your mental health. Social media has proven to be a blight upon society in so many ways, but one of the most insidious is the so-called Instagram effect. The Instagram effect is when a previously obscure or little-known location goes viral and a mob descend on that location and ruin everything that used to be good about it. Here in Jervis Bay, a small band of photographers used to photograph bioluminescent algae when a bloom lit up the local beaches. Then a Facebook group was set up that promoted sightings of the algae, and now you get upwards of 500 people descending on those previously quiet beaches. And as annoying as it is that the serenity of those bioluminescent beaches has been ruined forever, at least nobody's livelihood is at risk. But that's unfortunately not the case for farmers growing canola here in New South Wales. Every spring, hordes of Instagrammers descend on the canola fields, abandon their cars on the country back roads, and then stroll out into the fields to take highly unoriginal photographs. The Guardian newspaper reports that the Instagrammers trespassing on the land are unconcerned about trampling the crops and potentially threatening the biodiversity of the land. As the Guardian reports, one farmer found a couple 2 kilometres from the road in the middle of one of his canola fields. And amazingly, he said that he found it nearly impossible to dislodge these trespassers. On another farm, Instagrammers cut the fence at the edge of the field and then drove across the paddock to secure a photograph for their photo feed. The farmer's patience is understandably wearing thin, and these days, apart from regularly patrolling their property during the spring, they routinely call the police and let them deal with these interlopers. Now, there's no further information on the Mavic 3 Classic that was leaked last week. That's not to say DJI didn't get round to releasing a new Mavic 3 variant. The Mavic 3 Enterprise is aimed at commercial drone operators and the emergency services, and not, as I initially thought, Star Trek fans. It comes in 2 flavours, the 3E and the 3T, with the latter equipped with a thermal camera that enables the emergency services to boldly go where no drone has gone before. At first glance at the spec sheets, you might think the 3E is simply a regular Mavic 3, but actually it has one interesting modification, namely a mechanical shutter. The Mavic 3E isn't the first DJI drone to come equipped with a mechanical shutter. That honour goes to the Phantom 4 Pro, but it is nice to see it making a comeback. Mechanical shutters are of great benefit when the drone is either moving or capturing a fast-moving object. This makes them ideal for things like photogrammetry and surveying work. Neither of these drones is designed for regular drone users, of course. There are no benefits in buying a 3E instead of a Cine for shooting photographs or video. It's a downgrade, in fact. But it's always interesting how DJI iterate their designs for the various markets they've chosen to operate within. Given that DJI seem to be rolling out a major product every week in their run-up to Christmas and broadening their range into hitherto unforeseen new markets, I can only imagine what they'll have for us next week. DJI branded underwear, perhaps? Anyone up for a pair of Mavic 3 undies available in Pro and Mini variations? The unstoppable march of AI photo software continues as software developers fall over themselves to release some new AI feature for their apps. And while Adobe was at the forefront of the move to AI, their efforts have been somewhat overshadowed of late by companies like Topaz Labs and Skylum. This week, Adobe announced the release of Photoshop Elements and Premiere Elements 2023. The Elements range is pitched squarely at the non-commercial recreational home user and has always been focused on quick fix features that try and mostly succeed in hiding all that complexity you get in Photoshop or Premiere Pro. And in Elements 2023, Adobe have turned their mighty Sensei machine learning system onto cinemagraphs. Yeah, you remember those cheesy, partially animated GIFs that were all the go about 5 years ago? Back in the day, you'd take a photo of a waterfall and then, using a series of directional blurs, make it look vaguely like the waterfall was flowing. It was immediately obvious to anyone over the age of 4 what was actually happening in the photo. But for some reason, these cinemagraphs were a thing for a little while. And now, in a feature that seems to be targeted squarely at suburban grandmas, Adobe have decided that the time is right to make cinemagraphs the marquee feature of their Elements 2023 updates. Yes, your Facebook timeline's going to look all 2018 once again. In fact, that suburban grandma demographic appears to be the central focus of Elements 2023, which also includes an AI clip art feature they're calling peek-through overlays. And just in case your photograph's not looking cheesy enough already, you can also use the new pattern brushes to cover it in lovely love hearts too. Meanwhile, AC/DC have updated their photo studio range to include all the same AI tools as every other photo editor on the market. New in the 2023 release of Photo Studio Ultimate, background removal, subject selection and sky replacement, all AI powered, of course. There's also an AI face retouching option and a simplified photo merge tool for HDRs, panoramas and focus stacking. Adobe Elements 2023 is available now for 145 Australian or 99 US dollars, and AC/DC Photo Ultimate costs 237 Australian or 149 US dollars. Meanwhile, Skylum continue their energetic feature updates for their AI-powered Luminar Neo app. Having just added both HDR merging and AI denoising to Neo, they've now announced AI upscaling, AI background removal and focus stacking. All 3 extensions will be available in November. The extensions are paid-for add-ons that you don't have to purchase. I must admit, I quite like this system because it means you don't end up paying for features you'll never use. Neo costs 139 Australian dollars for a lifetime license. Looking at the photo editor market these days, most of the apps are quite conservative products with a traditional array of tools, and they're a stark contrast to Luminar Neo's varied feature set. The AI-powered dust spot and power line removal tools are worth the price tag on their own as far as I'm concerned, and I would also like to add that it's great to see an independent Ukrainian in fact, software company doing so well against massive multinationals like Adobe. And finally, a new study has recently been published that reinforces what many landscape photographers have always said. Getting out into nature is good for the old grey matter. The journal Molecular Psychiatry, talk about a niche, published the results of an experiment into the benefits of natural environments on mental health. And in results that won't surprise any landscape photographer, they found that there were real physical benefits to getting out into nature. Test subjects underwent a functional magnetic resonance imaging scan, and then half went for a walk in the forest and half went for a walk in the city. And the results showed that an area of the brain called the amygdala, which is involved in stress processing, showed reduced activity for those folks that got out into nature. Yes, it's probably obvious that being out in the countryside is better for you than being in a city, but this is the first time that scientists have proved a causal physical link and shown that it actually reduces chemical activity in those stress centers of the brain. So the next time you're in two minds about going out with your camera, remember that it's not just about the photographs, and go anyway. Alright guys, that's it for this week's episode. Have you hopped the fence at Canola field recently? It's certainly not a dilemma for me because I'm allergic to the bloody stuff. And have you bought into the AI post-processing scene? Or do you prefer to keep it old school? Let me know in the comments down below and give me a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my little channel for more content like this. Hit the old bell icon to be notified when I've uploaded a new video. Till the next time guys, ta-ta.